Open-minded people will usually admit that there must be many things that they believe that are not true. However, even the most open-minded person will have trouble identifying what those potentially erroneous beliefs could be. Despite all of our mistakes of the past and the many smart contemporaries that disagree with us, we still believe that we have everything worked out perfectly. There are many circumstances and biases that guaranteed that our universe of truth will be riddled with errors. A big reason is that our opinions start out biased and flawed. We were educated with many of our rules. However, those rules rapidly become outdated. Ideas have a half-life, and that half-life has been getting shorter. Medical students are regularly warned that half of what they are learning isn't true, but no one knows which half. Yet practicing doctors often employ the treatments they learned in medical school long after those treatments fall out of favor. Our pattern-seeking minds create rules out of random successes, even sporadic wins. Success rates of less than 40% are enough to convince most of us that we have discovered something we can rely on. Our biases are molded by subtle cues that we don't even notice. For example, confident, charismatic people are more likely to be believed, although they are no more likely to be right. If we start out with a flawed rule, why don't we just correct it based on subsequent information and experience? Sadly, this doesn't happen often, for many reasons. We only pay attention to the limited subset of information that we are interested in. Everything else is ignored. This is humorously illustrated by the invisible gorilla experiment, where subjects counting the passing of balls between teams miss noticing a gorilla that enters the room, beats its chest, and exits. Our minds go far beyond only paying attention to what we are interested in. We actively avoid information we don't agree with. Researchers have repeatedly found that subjects will even forego rewards to avoid learning something that goes against their rules. If we accidentally encounter information that contradicts our rules, our brains reject that information, even very compelling evidence, a phenomenon known as confirmation bias. When exposed to something we disagree with, our brains naturally reject it, discredit it, and then administer a little shot of dopamine as a reward. When we hold a strong opinion, we are almost impervious to reason. Conflicts between beliefs and new ideas make us very uncomfortable, so we reject ideas that are counter to beliefs we already hold. Of the limited information that we do notice and don't reject or avoid, we remember only a little. Primarily things that we already agree with. This is because it is much easier to store new information as part of existing memory contexts, so what we remember tends to strengthen our existing rules. Humans are, on average, very optimistic. Most animals are too. Our optimism leads us to believe that our thinking is good, even when we are getting bad results, so we tend to stick with our rules even when they are hurting us. We adopt the ideas and opinions of our peers as rules, often when we don't even believe those ideas. This is hardly a surprise because throughout history, survival has depended on good relationships with members of our group. We go along with group opinions to get along with the group. When we don't understand an idea, we are spectacularly bad at comprehending the extent of our ignorance. It takes a great deal of knowledge to know what we don't know. As a result, the more ignorant a person is, the more confident he will be in his opinions. Our brains strongly favor rules and beliefs that provide certainty. Ideas that create uncertainty are rejected. We just hate uncertainty and try hard to avoid it. We are biased to believe anything that shows us to be superior to others. Many bad ideas have been repeatedly tried and predictably failed by people who thought they could do much better. Superiority bias makes it especially hard to give up our own flawed ideas. We believe what we want to believe and find lots of support for those beliefs. We notice this all the time in other people who find strong reasons to hold on to laughable ideas that they happen to like. We, of course, are exactly the same and find plenty of support for whatever opinions we want to be true. We have a strong natural bias against giving anything up, including ideas and beliefs. It feels like a loss to our brains, and we would much rather avoid a loss than achieve a gain. We fear the unknown, including unknown ideas. We will hold on to a bad idea because we are afraid an unknown idea will be worse. All of this biased information and reasoning, right or wrong, is encoded as rules in our System 1 brain, where it drives our thoughts and actions. Unfortunately, these rules can lead us away from the solutions we need, just like Einstein's System 1 brain kept him from embracing quantum mechanics.